Round 2 done, and only one team left with a Grand Slam dream. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. Okay, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly talk about the results of each of the games, but then go into the stats of the teams for the first 2 rounds. So we'll take those kind of game by game as we go. Then we'll have a look at the table and then quickly chat about where I think each of the teams are in the championship as it stands. So if you're looking for maybe more details about what happened in each of the games, stats specific to games, etc., I have a review of each of the games that includes the stats as well up on the channel. So go check those out. If not, stick around and we'll have a look at how teams are doing overall. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to start with the results from the weekend, and as I said, some stats as well. So first game of the weekend was on Saturday, and it was Ireland 20, Italy 13. So Ireland, given a really good game by Italy. Italy leading at halftime, 10 points to 5, but Ireland coming through in the second half and getting that win. And, Italy really put it up to them. Italy dominant in the scrum. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Six Nations, they have stats for scrums, per game, but they don't have them overall. So I'm not sure. So we won't touch on the scrum. But for me, Italy, the best scrum in the Six Nations at the minute. Now, let's have a look at the scores. So for Ireland, we had Jamie Osborne, Jack Conan, and Robert Balakoon all getting tries. And then we had Giacomo Nicotera, a try for Italy. Conversions, 1 for Jack Crowley, 1 for Paolo Garbisi. And then penalties, Crowley with 1 and Garbisi with 2. Okay, so let's have a look at the stats of each of these teams. Again, this is over the 2 rounds rather than, just isolated to this round. So Ireland, first of all, carries, they're still 5th in the table with 261. And for a team that likes to go multi-phase, keep hold of the ball, they're well down on where they would have been in previous championships. Offloads, though, they're up. They're in second in 15th place. Second in with 15, should I say. But I think that's joint with a couple of other teams as well. The Brenners beaten then second with 56, which shows that there is something happening there, in terms of the way they are kind of tweaking or getting that attack going a little bit. So that's good to see, especially from an Irish fan. Missed tackles then, though, first, still with 67, but they missed so many against France. Even if they have a brilliant defensive display next time around, they still may be in, first or top 2, because they were miles ahead of anyone else after that first round of games. Kicks and play then, they're second with 68. Dominant contact, so that's pretty much dominant carries, 5th with 31, and that's what we're really seeing from them, right? Is that we're not seeing, we're used to the likes of Doris, McCarthy, etc. Being dominant in the carry, and the same with the front row as well. Sheehan has been decent around the park, but still not making those dominant contacts. So definitely something for them to work on there. Dominant tackles then as well, 5th with 12. Being fairly passive in the tackle. That didn't help poor Craig Casey, though, who got a yellow card, even though he's as passive as he could be in that incident. Turnovers 1 then, first with 17, so that's a good thing there for them, certainly. Post-contact meters then 3rd with 260, so even though they're not winning the collisions, as it were, they're still able to get those post-contact meters. So that's something good. And if they start winning the contacts, then you could really see, it might feel like it's completely out of nowhere. But again, that's why we look at stats, because they show you where, improving one little area and you've already got this, adjacent area that's doing well, and suddenly, you look like $1 million, and people are like, how come they've suddenly been doing that? But it's not. It's just one thing was fixed, and because of all the other things were kind of in line with that, then things happen for you. Breaks then 5th with 11. Tax success, 5th with 72.8. So definitely defense needs to be worked on. Total Jackal, so 1st with 7. That's brilliant to see there. So, they're not great in terms of the first up defense, but if they get you down, they're the most likely to actually steal the ball off you. Onto players then. Offloads, 5th overall, Stuart McCluskey with 4. Try assist then 2nd overall, again in the competition, Stuart McCluskey with 3. That's shared with a couple of other players. Defenders beaten, 5th, James Lowe with 9. That's an interesting stat. He did not play in the first round, and he's managed to get himself into the top 6 against players who played 2 games. So that tells you the impact he had. And defenders beaten 9, the most of any player over the weekend as well. I think maybe like BL Biri and Atasogbe might have had the same number like over the weekend, but nobody got more than him. Missed tackles then, still first, Stan Prendergast with 10. But he was miles ahead of everyone else after the first round, and it's kind of closing up a little bit. But second, Gary Rose with 8. And then line breaks, 3rd overall in the competition again, James Lowe with 4. Just showing the impact him coming back into the team has had, like it's crazy. And then line out throw percentage, 1st, Dan Sheehan, that's joint 1st, I think, 100%. So all of his throws, and we always think, on set piece, Sheehan's not the go-to guy, as it were. You'd expect Kelleher or, a few of the others in past years, that would have been there ahead of him, but his line-out throw has been excellent so far. And then Jackals, 2nd overall, Tyke Byrne with 3. So certainly some positive for Ireland, coming off the back of a win, but you see you can see the areas where they need to improve, I think, when they go up against England next week. Okay, next then we go on to Italy. So Italy carries still 6th with 226. They had 80 something though in the first round, so they certainly increased the number of carries that they had, even though they still haven't increased it enough to overtake someone else. But I think if they repeat what they did against Ireland, they will start moving up that table a little bit. Offloads then 2nd with 15. Again, that is tied across, I think, 3 teams, and Ireland being one of them, as we saw. Defenders beaten then, they're 5th with 43. And it seems to be for them, Menoncello seems to be the guy doing all the beating of the defenders. Line-out steals then, though, 1st with 5, and that's very impressive. I think 2nd place might be England with 3. Kicks and play, they are 6th with 56. The only team, I think, not averaging 30 kicks a game from the first 2 rounds. And yeah, 56 is still average 28, and average 28 is normally in Six Nations on the high side. It just shows how much more each of the teams are kicking this year. Dominant contacts then, they're 3rd, and that's with 34. And then dominant tackles, they're 2nd with 27. So, doing very well in contact, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then again, successful tackles 1st with 395. Lineouts 1, they are 4th with, hang on, I don't think that, 11. That doesn't sound right though. No, sorry, it's not lineouts, it's turnovers 1, 4th with 11. That makes a lot more sense, sorry. That's my poor eyesight. Post-contact meters then, they're 5th with 218. So again, kind of like Ireland, not really winning the collision, and making those meters beyond that. And looking at all the good things that they've done the first two games, again, improving that area, and we could see them really cause, trouble for some bigger teams. Tackle success then, they are fourth with 82.5%. Meters per carry, they're fourth again with 3.2. That's certainly up from last week. Meters per kick then, they are sixth with 23.9. So they're kicking less than other teams, they're kicking shorter than other teams. And if you're in that kind of 20 to 25 meter range on your average, normally you're putting up contestable kicks for the most part. Obviously every team will mix up their kicking. No team is going to just do 100% one type of kicking, but for them, it's predominantly contestable kicks. Next then, onto players. So meters made, we got sixth with Tommaso Menoncello, 142. Again, I told you he's the guy, that's kind of, individually up to top of the stats in certain areas, even though the team isn't anywhere near it. Offloads then, third, Monty Ioane with 5, and fifth, Maureen with 4. Line-out steals is first, is Michelle Lamoureux and Zuliani with 2 each. Then line-out throws 1. So first, in terms of hookers, is Nicotero with 19. Then successful tackles, we have first overall is Lorenzo Canone. I think he has 37. Then second is his brother Nicolo Canone with 35. Fourth, Zuliani with 33. And fifth, Sam Bonin with 32. So 4 of the top 6 tacklers, and actually the first, 4 of the top 5 tacklers are Italians. Then tackle percentage, first overall is Zambonin with 97. And when you look, he's made 32 successful tackles, which means that he's only missed 1 tackle out of 33 tackles overall. That is just crazy numbers from him. So you can see there's a lot of individuals really performing for Italy. And, as a team, they're not up there in terms of, a lot of the stats other than, line-out steals, tackles, etc. But, if you have individuals performing so well, it can drag the team up as well. I think that's what we're seeing from Italy. And, I don't think the win against Scotland is going to be their only win through the tournament. Okay, so that was the first game. Let's move on then to the second game of the weekend, and that was Scotland 31, England 20. Halftime score was 24-10. And Scotland, bouncing back from that defeat to Italy. England, they looked absolutely, brilliant against Wales, but Scotland just blitzed them in the opening. And from then, it was kind of tipped for that a little bit to the rest of the game. Scotland, 2 tries from Hugh Jones. Jamie Ritchie got 1, and Ben White. And, it was a bonus point win for them. For England then, Henry Arundel and Ben Earl got over. Then we had conversions, 4 from Finn Russell, 2 from George Ford, and then 1 penalty from Finn Russell and 2 from George Ford as well. But yeah, the turning point in the game really was, when England were trying to, they went for the drop goal, right? Got charged down, and then I think it was Xander Ferguson, right? He charged down, gave it to Hugh Jones, and then he had the pace then to go all the way to score. And after that, then you knew England were not coming back. But brilliant performance from Scotland. Again, if you want to know more about it, go look at the video on the channel that is dedicated to that. But we will look at the stats here. So we're going to start with Scotland. So Scotland overall, third for carries, 271. Offloads is a weird one. They're 6th with 10. You associate Scotland with an offloading game. You normally think it's France first and then Scotland second, but at the minute, not so much for them. Keeping the ball, in hand and going for those recycles more than looking for the offloads. Missed tackles then, they're 6th with 32. So that's obviously a good thing for them. Kicks and play, 5th with, 58. So, I said Italy, the only team averaging less than 30, but Scotland just about there as well themselves. And again, that's a strange one because Scotland generally, going back the years, would have been first or second between themselves and France in terms of kicks in play and kick meters. And then kick meters at the moment are still fifth with 1,600. Dominant contacts, they're sixth with 18. So, another case where they've got, one or two players like Dempsey standing out in terms of winning contacts, but they're not, winning them overall. Successful tackles then sixth with 248. Box kicks, they're first with 30. So more than half of their kicks have been box kicks so far. And then kicks bounced, they're sixth with 9, which means that they're not looking to, they're not looking for grass when they're kicking. They're not looking to turn the defense. They're looking to contest, and you can see that with their box kicks. Breaks then, they're sixth with 9. They had 0, I think, in the first game against Italy. Tackle success then, first with 84.5. So, that win against England, although they got 4 tries, built on a hugely solid defense. Retained kick percentage then second with 25.9. No surprise when they're looking to contest their kicks a lot more than others. Line of success sixth with 80.6, which is strange because you think, Glasgow, for me, consistently the best line out in the URC, and the guys go into the Scotland camp and suddenly it's all changed. Obviously, in terms of Glasgow representation, they don't really get much representation on the hooker side of things, and maybe it has an effect on it. Meters per carry then sixth with 2.3. That weirdly is like a big improvement on last week, because last week they were 1.4 on average. So, they made a lot of meters per carry against England to be able to almost double their average. Total jackals then second with 6th. And then onto players, defenders beaten. Joint first, Kyle Stein with 10. I think there's about 4 players on 10. Retained kicks first, Ben White with 10. Dominant contacts, Jack Dempsey is 6th overall with 6. Turnovers 1, first, Rory Darge with 6. Breaks, 4th is Jamie Dobie with 3. Tackle success, you have Rory Darge 2nd, 96.3. And 3rd is Scott Cummings with 95.5. And then total jackals, first, Rory Darge with 4. So again, you're seeing, individual players really standing out for them. But it feels like, like there was a lot of improvement, I think, across the team, and like a lot of stats, obviously, of those players would have been down, in that defeat to Italy. So it's going to be interesting to see how they, if they put in another good performance, how they kind of rise up the rankings as well, through the rest of the team. So let's then have a look at the, let me find the England stats here. Right. So England, first of all, tries scored, they're 2nd overall with 9. They were first last week, with 7. Carries then 2nd with 275. Offloads, they're 5th with 12. So again, not a big offloading team. Defenders beaten, they're 4th with 44. Line out steals, they're 2nd with 3. Line outs 1, they're 1st overall with 33. Line out percentage is 2nd, 97.1. That's excellent. Kicks and play, they're 2nd with 68. I think they're just 1 behind France on that. Kick meters, 2nd, 1,993. Then dominant contacts, 2nd overall with 37. Box kicks, they are 5th with 20. And again, England would have been a heavy box kicking team in previous Six Nations. Carry meters made, 2nd overall, 945. Post contact meters, 2nd overall again, 279. Breaks, 2nd with 18. Tackle success percentage, 2nd with 83.4. Retained kick percentage, then they're 5th with 13.2, which is weird when you think of the players that they have to be able to contest for kicks. But when you look at, how long they've been kicking, it kind of tells you they're not putting up as many contestable kicks. Meters per carry, then, they are second with 3.4, and meters per kick, second with 29.3. So kicking almost 30 meters on average. So those are not contestable kicks for the most part. Then players, tries first, Henry Arundel with 4, carries, first Ben Earl with 41, try assists, second George Ford with 3, that's shared with other players. Defenders beaten first, Tommy Freeman with 10, again I think shared with other players. Kicks in play, first George Ford with 34, and every other player on that list, the top 6, are scrum halves. So again, England heavily kicking from 10 compared to any other team. Attacking catch success then, first Henry Arundel with 2, again kind of begs the question, why don't they contest, put up more contestable kicks. Post contact meters, second Tommy Freeman and Ben Earl both with 53. Then kick meters, first George Ford 1,245, and he's almost, I think, 400 meters or something ridiculous ahead of the next player. Okay, so that's Scotland, England against Scotland 31, England 20 was the score there. Now let's move on to the final game of the weekend, and that was Wales 12, France 54. And poor Wales, really, it just continues, right, for them. Not really looking like they're close to getting a win, but they played what certainly looked to be coming into the tournament the two hardest teams first up. Now, they've got the likes of Scotland, Ireland, and then Italy. And maybe they're going to be a bit closer to those teams, especially, we've seen each of those teams, well, Italy not so much, but certainly Ireland and Scotland have off days, bad days at the office, in the first 2 rounds. So, in this one, the scores, so for Wales, Rhys Carré, with their try, and then who was scored the other try? They got another try at the death. And this is the weird thing about this official site, is that they still haven't updated the person who scored. Let me check my own thing, because I know I have it on there myself. It was Mason Grady. There we go. Mason Grady got the other try. Again, I don't know why the official site, a day later, still hasn't updated. And then Dan Edwards with the 1 conversion. And then for France, we had Gaëtan, Louis Biarri, Fabien Braubory, Mathieu Jalabert, Julien Marchand, Theo Atosogbe with 2, and then Charles Olivon with 1 as well. Tomo Ramos with a bunch of conversions there as well. So Wales 12, France 54. Okay, so let's have a look at their stats, and we will start with the home team, Wales. So Wales improving in some areas, although still not, massively, obviously, towards the top. And you wouldn't expect them to be having, been beaten heavily in both of their games so far. But carries 4th with 270, offloads 4th with 14. I think they were maybe last after the first round. Defenders beaten then 6th with 38. Missed tackles 2nd with 61. That's behind Ireland. Line-out percentage 5th with 86.2. Kick meters 3rd, 1,876. Dominant contact, so 1st overall with 39. That is excellent. Box kick 2nd with 28. Post contact meters 1st again with 283. Breaks 3rd with 13. Again, that's impressive for a team who've been well beaten in both of their games. Meters per carry 3rd with 3.2. Total jackals 4th with 3. Meters per carry 3rd with 28.4, and then dominant tackles 6th with just 8. So there's some encouraging stats there, at least for them. I'm not saying that it means that they're definitely going to win a game by the end of the tournament, but it does show there is some kind of progress going on there, and that's very hard to kind of see unless you start drilling down when you're just looking at, beating like 40 odd points against England and then, concede 50 odd points against France. Players then, carries first overall, Louis Rees-Zammit with 30. Meters made, first overall, Louis Rees-Zammit, 238. Defenders beaten, first overall. Again, this is joint, though. There's about 3 or 4 players, but Louis Rees-Zammit with 10. Missed tackles, second, Louis Rees-Zammit with 8. Along with Daffyd Jenkins, also 8. Fifth, then, Ellis Mee with 7. Dominant contacts, first, Aaron Wainwright with 9. Post-contact meters, first, Aaron Wainwright with 55. So in a team getting absolutely hammered, to have the guy that made the most meters and also the guy that made the most post contact meters is you have to say it's impressive. Box kicks then, first Thomas Williams with 27. Line breaks, fourth Eddie James with 3. Meters per carry, first Louis Rees-Zammit with 7.9. Meters per kick, second overall Louis Rees-Zammit with 35.5 from him. So, some decent individual stats, a couple of areas where they're doing well too. And again, it's just kind of that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, maybe for them. But I think that the tunnel is still pretty long, unfortunately for them. And then we are going to have a look at France's stats, the leaders of the competition, and they've got a lot of firsts. So tries first with 13, carries first 330, offloads first with 45. Second place, and it's joint second place, so 3 teams are on the same number, is 15. So France have 3 times the number of offloads as any other team, and they have the same amount of offloads as the second, third, and fourth place team added together. That is absolutely crazy. But we see it, and the thing is, they're not like. We've seen France love offloading, right? But I think the difference is now is you look at their offloads in past years, and it was a 50-50 whether they were offloading to make a break, or offloading, ball hits the deck and they concede a try. There was kind of it was fairly even between those two. Whereas now, their ability to get to that loose ball, first of all, they get more into hands, but second, their ability to beat other teams to that loose ball almost every single time is impressive. Next, then, defenders beaten, first with 73. Kicks and play, they're first with 69. Kick meters, first 2,028, the only team over 2,000 meters. Then retain kicks, they're first with 18. Dominant tackles, first with 38. So it's not just, on the attacking side of the ball. Turnovers won, first with 17. I think that might be joint with Ireland. Breaks, first with 30. Line-out success, first 100%. They haven't lost a line-out so far in this competition. That is, again, very impressive. It's going to be interesting to see them up against Italy, who are the team with the most steals in the competition. So, somebody's record is going to take a dent. And that one, meters per carry then, first with 4.6, and meters per kick, they're first with 29.4. So, again, it comes back to the whole thing of, we always think about, running rugby and kicking being separate, but I keep on going on about this because I think it's important to emphasize that, this isn't like a fluke. The fact that, France are kicking more than anyone else and also looking the most, dangerous and exciting team, because that's why they're kicking the ball in the first place. On to players then, meters made, got second, Tom Ramos, 221 meters. Third, Louis B. Albery, 182. Fourth, Jalabert, 168. And then fifth is at the Sogbay, 148. Offloads then, First, Jalabert with 10. Second, Ramos with 8. And third, Dupont with 6. And that, like, Dupont, 2 offloads you think of in that game that stand out to me at least. The first one is the one like behind his back that set up the first try, and then the second one is the one where he like Beard was dragging him called him into the maul, and then he just flings it back, and they end up with a crossfield kick and Otasagbe in for a try. Next, then we have defenders beaten. First, Jalabert with 10, and then again there's a few with 10, and then fifth, Ramos with 9. Dominant tackles. Then first is hang on, I think we have to fix that one. I think it's Noki with 4. And then so overall, just looking really, really good compared to pretty much any other team, I think, France at the minute. But let's have a look at the table, and I think that will confirm what we're saying about them. Let me pull it up here now. Right, so table. So first, France, 2 from 2, the only team 2 from 2, as I said in the intro, the only team with a possibility now of a Grand Slam. Maximum points, 10 points for them, 2 bonus point wins. Then second are Scotland, 1 win from 2 on 6 points. Then we have England next, who have 1 win from their 2 as well. They are on 5 points. Italy, 1 win from them, and they got 4-point victory against Scotland, and then they got that losing bonus point against Ireland, so they got 5 points as well. Ireland then in 5th place, just that 1 win against Italy. They couldn't get the bonus point because they kicked the ball dead right at the end, but there was no guarantee that they were actually going to score there anyway. 4 points to them. And then Wales, no wins from their 2 games on 0 points. So looking at it at the minute, it's definitely France's championship to lose. You could see though, again, both, like, look at those teams 2 to 4. Any one of them could potentially give them a game, but also the form that France are in, they could also spank any one of those teams as well. So it's kind of anybody's guess what happens with each of them, I think, because again, Scotland, for whatever reason, seem to have no fear playing against France. Maybe it's just the styles kind of suit each other. And they seem to be able to, do things that, certainly Ireland can't do, in that, like, if Scotland had been down the way Ireland were against France, you could actually see a potential, at least, for Scotland to come back into the game. Whereas Ireland, you knew they were beaten, because Ireland just don't have the capability to do that, but Scotland do. England can just, be on it and beat a team well. And then Italy have caused, Italy have kind of been up and down, right? They've been hockeyed by France, but they've also caused France a lot of problems, in recent-ish years at least. And the fact that Italy are playing so well too. So it's not going to be plain sailing, certainly for France. And, I think all of those teams, even Italy, I would say at this stage, still have potential chances to pip them to the title. I don't think Ireland do. I think the fact that Ireland didn't get a losing bonus point in Paris, and they didn't get a bonus point against Italy, I think that pretty much has ruled them out of contention. I think that they're going to be, even if they went perfect for the rest of the tournament, I think they'd still probably be like a point or 2 short of being able to overhaul France or whoever it was at the top at the end of the tournament. So I think you can kind of rule Ireland out, and the same with Wales as well. Like, Wales are not going to come back, and first of all, they're not going to win the Six Nations with 15 points, which is the maximum they can get now. But also they're not going to come back and hockey the three teams that they have remaining either. They still might beat one of them, but we'll have to see. So that's our table there. We got another round coming up. And, after that, then what we'll do as well is we'll do maybe a separate video for just the catch up, which will be shorter, which will just be results and table. And then we'll do another standalone video that kind of looks a bit more at the stats and kind of shows a bit more so you can see teams compared to each other and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it for now. If you wouldn't mind, maybe post down a comment, share, do all that stuff. It really does help out the channel.